Well, we're in Cortez, Colorado right now. I'm heading down to Moab, Utah. I left yesterday around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is now Dallas time. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning here. I stopped over at a rest area last night, because if I would have drove all night long, I would have ended up in Moab around 3:30 or 4 in the morning. And I didn't want to do that, but so we're in Cortez, Colorado, and it's an exciting adventure today, because today is actually the day that I am bringing the very first load of stuff to my new home. And if you look right here, you can see my trailer is loaded down. What we got here is actually building materials. I got all the steel studs for the office and for the bathroom. I got my scaffolding. I got the lights for the ceiling in my shop. And hopefully this isn't going to fall out. That's our grounding rod right there. But it looks like it's okay. We got to ram two of those in the ground. We got our generator so we can have power while we're there. I brought one of my snap-on toolboxes and one of my carts. And then in the back of the truck we got, of course, a table and some chairs and other stuff. And the rest of the electrical components that we're going to need. I went ahead and bought these for our scaffolding because we're going to be 20 feet up in the air. These are called outriggers. I'm going to show you how those things set up when we get there. But yeah, we're loaded up and ready to go. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
All right.
Good.
How you doing today?
Good. Looks like you're working.
Heading over to Moab, Utah.
Oh!
Moab, Utah,
What you got
buddy.
going on in Moab?
I'm moving there.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, building a shop and house.
Cool.
All the way from Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
So,
Well,
how's Cortez? How's Cortez treating you today?
pretty good. Pretty good. Cortez always treats me pretty good.
All right, buddy. Shake your hand, make a friend.
You betcha.
My name's Pete.
I'm Gene.
All right, you take care.
Hey, you
Pete.
bet. Thanks
All
for coming in, man.
All right,
Don't
buddy.
forget your gas cap.
Oh yeah.
Take care.
You too, buddy. So that's the situation you have: shaking hands, making friends, and traveling the journey of your life. This isn't just a journey for me. This is actually a dream come true from when I was approximately 5 years old. So let's get this thing in gear and get down the road. I was saying outside there before I got in the truck that this is actually a dream come true. This is something I've wanted to do since I was around 5 years old. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of explain that real quick. When I was a little kid, and we're talking very young, 4, 5, 6 years old, my dad would take us to the drive-in. Now, he wouldn't take us to see Disneyland or you know, Mickey Mouse and Goofy. He would take us to movies that he liked, and he didn't give a shit about if we liked them or not. That's what he wanted to go see. So we would go see The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, for instance, Clint Eastwood and Fistful of Dollars. And then for some odd reason, even though he wasn't a biker, he liked biker movies. And I'm sure everybody out there knows what we're talking about. We're talking about the B-rated biker movies that used to show at the drive-ins way back in the day. And there was one particular biker movie, and I don't know what the name of it was, but there was an Indian guy in there, and it was filmed in Arizona, out in the canyons of Arizona, kind of like Moab, Utah. And I don't know what it was about that movie, but it just sparked my interest that I always wanted to live in Arizona since I saw that movie. Even though it was about these hardcore killer bikers, and the Indian was on the run, they were actually after him. But yeah, so ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to live in the Southwest. I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know, I named my shop Southwest Paint and Body, so go figure that. But it all turned out pretty good, and the only way that I could figure out that I would be able to get to the Southwest, which would be Arizona, the canyon lands and the deserts of Arizona, is to become a state trooper. So when I was a little kid, all the way up until high school, that's basically what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a state trooper in Arizona because that's where I wanted to live. Well, the dice didn't roll the right way, cards weren't dealt, and life treated me the wrong way that I didn't want it to be treated, and shit happens, basically. So I ended up down in Dallas, Texas. I used to build houses in Colorado, and the company I worked for offered to give me a raise and go out there for 9 months and pay for all my living expenses except for food for 9 months, and then they would bring me back. So I said, yeah, sure. So in that meantime of 9 months, I went ahead and met my first wife. I had 2 kids, and one thing led into another, and I ended up staying in Dallas, Texas. Now, I didn't like Dallas, but what kept me in Dallas is my kids, because I wanted my kids to be raised in the same town that they were born in, and I wanted to all go to the same school with all the same kids. I didn't want to move them around, but all that time, I wanted to get the hell out of Dallas. I hated Dallas. I don't like the humidity there. I don't like the heat. I just don't like all that concrete and that giant city, because there's nothing to do there. And when you grow up in a state like I grew up in, Colorado, then you kind of understand that living in Dallas, Texas is not your cup of tea. So as time went by, I opened up my shop, of course, when I first moved there. And I started to gradually get business, and then of course I made a name for myself, and I planted my feet, and I moved up to the shop that I'm in now, and blah 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 blah. And now here we are today, finally moving to the great southwest of Utah, which is basically in the 4 corners. I'm moving to the 4 corners of the United States now. The 4 corners consists of Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And if anybody's ever seen any old John Wayne movies, that's basically where they are filmed, in that area. There's a place called Monument Valley, which is where most of the John Wayne movies were filmed, but a lot of them were filmed in Moab, Utah, out in the canyons of Canyonlands and Arches National Park. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of City Slickers, the movie. Well, that was filmed out in Moab, Utah, I believe. But that's the area I've always wanted to live, and you know what? It's a fucking great situation, because not just did my dream come true, my dream came true because I made it come true. I worked my ass off, and this is what I've always wanted to do all my life. And when you do that, and when you have that positive attitude, shit's gonna happen. So we're on our way to Moab. I have my very first load of stuff that I'm bringing out there that'll be staying there. And the building's being built, and we're gonna go out there and take you through the journey of what the situation is, of course. So sit back and relax and enjoy the situation. And if you miss any action, you can always go to YouTube channel DIY Auto School and watch the live videos, because as I'm out here working, I recorded live video action and uploaded it to DIY Auto School, which is a YouTube channel of mine. And yeah, Minnie the Body Shop Girl isn't with me today because she is actually following me out here. She'll be behind me in 3 or 4 days, and she had other stuff to do in Dallas, but she's bringing her car out here to Moab, and we're gonna leave her car out here permanently. It won't be going back to Dallas. Anyway, let's get to Moab, Utah, and let's get her done. Well, we finally made it out to Moab, and we caught the crew putting up the building, so let's check it out. We want to stay out of their way, of course. We don't want to get involved with asking questions and being stupid about the situation. I did talk to one guy named Brian. He said it's going to take about a week and a half to finish the building out once all the sheeting goes up, the insulation, and then of course we get the doors out here and it's a done deal. So if everybody remembers, we had a problem with a building company out in Grand Junction, Colorado called American Steel Buildings, I believe All American Steel. And after I contacted Chris over here at TPI Commercial Construction, he hooked me up and is doing an awesome job on our building. This is the company that's putting our building up right here. And if you are in this area, I want you to pay attention to this situation, because these guys right here, Chris, his mom, and all his employees are awesome people and do a fantastic job. So give Chris over at TPI Commercial Construction a call if you're interested and you're in the western slope of Colorado, Utah. You might want to give him a call and see what he can do for you. There they are putting the walls up right there. Now they put all the red iron up last week, and we got Mike up there. He's the supervisor, and it looks like he's the head screw job, which means he's the screw gun guy. So they just did this wall right here. It took them approximately an hour to put this one wall up. Really came out awesome. And here's all the steel that was delivered from Nebraska, and the company that Chris uses, I think it's B&H Steel. I'll put that in the description of this video, but this here is our roof sheeting. This goes on the roof, and I guess the roof goes on last after all the sheeting goes on. And then if we look all the way over here, we can see this is our insulation, and that's a lot of insulation there. Now I paid extra to get this super duper insulation package that I thought was going to be covered under the 2015 Energy Code system, but after we found out that we went through the county to figure it all out, it's not covered. All the insulation that I'm putting in this thing is not enough for the 2015 Energy Code, which to me is a little bit bullshit, but that's fucking life, and there's nothing I can do about it. So we got variance R rating type insulation here, and they said once the insulation is up, you won't even be able to see the walls on it. The walls will be covered with white vinyl. They're also putting a vapor barrier between the steel and the sheet metal. If you look real close up there where Mike is, you can see that there's some blue, looks like blue tape, but that's actually a vapor barrier so it doesn't get moisture between the panels, and also to keep the building from squeaking and creaking as the wind blows real hard out here. Now we look over here at this end past the insulation, and that's the office. If everybody remembers in the last video, that's where Minnie was standing, and she said,
I'm looking out my front door.
no, actually the door's right here.
Oh, it's on this side?
No, it's right here.
Right in the middle?
2 doors. Yeah.
Here we go. Look, I'm opening up the front door. Stepping outside.
See you later. Right there where that ladder is, and that is the office. Now what these guys just got done doing is they just got done framing in all the windows, and if you look up on top there, you can see that the 2 small windows up in the top here are framed in, and then of course we got the slide up windows, which are the big 3x4s across from each other. And then I actually got extra windows, so they're going to go ahead and put 2 more windows across there once that section is built. But let's go ahead and walk in the shop and see what we got going. It's really, really exciting situation is what we got going here. I don't know what this stuff is. I don't even know what that white stuff is for, but I'm sure it's for something. I'm sure it's for something. So this is actually a 50 by 60 building that you're looking at. 50 by 60, it's identically exact same size, shape, and form of my shop in Dallas. With all the walls gone and not finished, this shop actually looks a little smaller, but I think we're going to go ahead and get used to it. I also put a 212 pitch on this roof instead of a 112 pitch to give it more of a distinct look with the higher pitch roof. Now our paint booth's going to be over there in that area, and then what we'll do is we'll build a wall right here to cut that off, and then unlike my other shop, I'm going to leave this all open right here. This will be a big open area, and then we're going to have a small bathroom over here in the corner where we'll be able to, yes, take a shower, take a shit, and also wash our hands and face. Remember the plumbing situation? What a fucking nightmare that was. But it looks like everything lined up perfect, so we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be all right. So the next thing to do is let these guys finish their job, and then once they get done doing what they gotta do, of course, my friend Pete and me and the body shop girl are gonna come in and start doing what we gotta do to get the job done so DIY water school can get down the road and be in business. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete over here at DIY Auto School, Moab, Utah, SWRC Southwest Rod Custom, Moab, Utah, hoping and praying that everything turns out the way it's supposed to turn out. Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah.